Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something very epic. We're going to review Diary of an 8-Bit Warrior, the Minecraft series, okay? This is such a weird series, and this is Toby, my little brother, and he introduced me to these books.
Damn.
And so we have 5 of them here, okay? This is the first one, and then I'll go through them, but so Toby, do you know if they only have 5, or is there more?
I think it's just 5, because, actually, there might be more, because, I mean...
Or there's more being published.
No, I don't know.
I don't know, okay. So, where'd you get this, Tobe?
I got the first one for Christmas. I actually don't even know. I just got them, yeah, so I don't even know.
Okay, so basically, so he got these for Christmas, and he had already had, I think he had all of them by the time I decided to start reading them.
Yeah.
Why? I don't really remember how it started, honestly. I may have just picked it up as kind of a joke, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of good. And so I was like, I'm going to read it, okay? Mm-hmm. So, little backstory. This is written by somebody named Cube Kid. That's obviously his pen name, and he's actually from Alaska. And this was originally a fan fiction before it was published. Did you know that?
No, I didn't actually know that.
It's on the back of the book, tell me.
I don't read things.
So yeah. And so also I was a little weirded out because I was like, how did he get permission to use Minecraft? I guess he never says the words Minecraft. Maybe he does. I don't remember. But it's
no, because he calls it something.
Minecraftia?
Yeah, Minecraftia.
Minecraftia. Mm. So, the point is, I don't know how the copyright works.
I don't.
But I know that this is
not that I know, but I think it's probably just whatever, they don't really care, because there's lots of Minecraft fanfiction and stuff. And they always say, unofficial Minecraft guide series thing.
And it does say an unofficial Minecraft adventure down here. So, I guess that's, distancing itself from the brand name. I don't know. Even though it says Minecraft. Okay, so, what are these books about? They're about a villager named Runt, who's, 12 years old, I think. And basically, he lives in a peaceful village, except they're being attacked by mobs or monsters, if you know anything about Minecraft, like zombies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And basically, he decides that he's going to train to be a warrior and then defeat them. Okay, it's really not that complicated.
Yeah.
Okay. So, these were better than I expected.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, Toby liked them, and I like them too, I'm not going to lie, okay? I think some of them are stronger than others, but overall, I did enjoy. I mean, I read it, and then I read the next one, and then the next one. So clearly they weren't that bad. Otherwise, I would have stopped reading, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the first book is pretty solid. I don't really remember so that's one thing that me and Toby agree with, is that actually there are some, but the books sometimes, basically, I did a little bit of research into how the series was made and stuff. So all of these books were one fan fiction published online, okay? And I believe, this actually don't know, this is just a hypothesis. I believe this was a serialized series, he would update it every week or so like that, or every 2 weeks. And you can tell that because sometimes the books don't have complete arcs. They just kind of cut off. And that's because they took it from a longer work. So it's just cut into pieces. Sometimes a plot thread will start in this book and then it won't have any payoff till this book. And then more likely than that, sometimes plot threads are just introduced and then abandoned and we never hear about them again. Did you ever notice that?
Honestly, not really. But with the way they do it, with the plot threads that they kind of leave off or don't finish till later, maybe that was it's possible. I think that was probably part of the original fan fiction, but they probably didn't kept it that way on purpose, so you buy all the books.
I guess so, yeah.
Because, if you buy the first one and leaves you on a big cliffhanger, you're basically guaranteed to buy the second one, unless you really hated the first one.
That's true, but it's not always, a big cliffhanger. I mean, this one, they leave you... Anyway. So they do that. I noticed that, though, for example, characters... I guess this doesn't really count as plot things being abandoned, but, characters will be important in first books, and then later they're just abandoned entirely. Yeah, and then it's why did we spend so much time with them if they were just going to become irrelevant? You know what I'm saying? For example, Max. Okay, So the main...
He doesn't disappear.
No, he does.
Well, I mean, I guess it's because, yeah, like in the first book, he's like basically like kind of like he basically bullies Runt, so he's one of the main characters.
Yeah.
But in the second, like the rest of the books, he pretty much he basically just becomes information for Runt occasionally.
Yeah. So in this, so what Toby's saying is Runt is the main character, and in this book he has a bully named Max.
Yep.
Okay, and Max like repeatedly bullies him throughout the book. He's just like a minor antagonist or whatever, but he is quite frequent. In the second book, it's not a spoiler, but he ends up befriending Max, okay? So Max does get a bit of screen time in the second book as well.
That's kind of a spoiler, damn. Just say it.
It's Minecraft, okay. It literally says on the cover, Max, my ex-nemesis. So if you pick up the book, you know they become friends.
But you know that because of the first book. It says that by the end of the first book, they're friends.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
they don't start that until this book. Listen, I will look it up for you because Pebble doesn't show up till this book.
Oh.
And so they don't team up together until Pebble starts like picking on them.
Yeah, and he picks on both of them.
Yeah, and before that they don't like each other.
Arf, honestly, I just saw a picture of him in that book. Oh, he's the best character. Let's be real.
Who? Arf?
Arf. Yeah.
I say Arf, but it could be Arf. It's spelled like U-R-F. Okay, listen. Toby, no. Here's an example of a plot thread that just gets abandoned, okay? So Max, in the first book, they mention this more than once, so it's not a throwaway detail. For some reason, Cube Kid feels the need to remind you of this on multiple occasions. Do you remember how Max is a fan of that children's book called, like, The Cow Adventures or something? Yeah. Okay, so Runt sets this up like this is a thing, okay? We're told about it multiple times. We're told that it's, like, kind of embarrassing and, like, weird, okay? And it's just, like, a quirky thing about Max. But it seems like more than just characterization because Max never talks about it. Runt never confronts him about it. Like, so I was like, oh, this is going to be important later. You know, because as an author, when you introduce something...
You don't just drop it.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought maybe Runt later was going to, like, get the... it's 4th of July. He was gonna like find the book and then like I don't know. I didn't think he was gonna blackmail him with it, but like, I thought something plot related would happen.
I mean,
because of the book.
But like, since it's like a goofy it was based on like a goofy fan fiction. It couldn't have just been like it was. They just used that as a joke because that's just like
they could, but it came up like more than once, and it was never played as that funny. I mean, I have to go back and look for very specific examples, but like. There's lots of humor in these books, by the way.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
And they are pretty funny, actually. There's plenty of times where I actually laugh. Like, the 4th book is one of the funniest ones, okay? I'll get to it, but, like, Toby, do you remember at the end when they start, like the diary starts, like, switching hands, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was hysterical. I was laughing so hard. Okay, but anyway... So the comedy is good. I'd say the comedy is good. You agree? Mm-hmm. And even the action is pretty good. Like they start fighting monsters and stuff, and like the stakes start increasing throughout the books and stuff like that. And basically, I actually like the action. Yeah. So my biggest problem is mostly just and the characters are I'm gonna take that back in a second. Okay. Runt is a good character. Yeah. And the characters that get any screen time are pretty good, with some exceptions. Okay, I got some pet peeves in a second. But, like, my problem with the characters is that Cube Kid doesn't know what to do with them. For example, Max has, like, an arc in these 2 books, right? He's, like, Runt's bully, and then he becomes his friend. Mm-hmm. And then, as Toby said earlier, what happens to Max?
He basically, like, he appears occasionally to give him information, and then he dies, basically.
He's not dead. But, like, literally, Cube Kid just writes him out of the story. Like, Max is no longer relevant in Runt's life at all. So why did we spend so much time on their friendship if Max, like, wasn't going to be important in any way? Mm-hmm. Literally, in, like, by the time the 4th book rolls around, Max, I swear, I could probably count the number of lines he has in this. Maybe 8. And they're, like, 1-sentence lines, and Runt's always like, what is that? And then Max is like, the advanced crafting table. Because, like, he's, like, smart. Yeah. So basically, he just uses him to explain stuff. But it's like, he was set up as an actual character that I liked. I liked Max. I thought he was entertaining and funny. And, like, I just enjoyed seeing him on screen. So I was kind of disappointed when he just, like, vanished, you know, from the story and wasn't being utilized. Like, Stump is like that. Stump is Runt's best friend.
He's dope.
He's great. And when Stump is on screen and doing stuff, he's great. But then sometimes Stump disappears. For like, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, Stump will be in a couple chapters and then it'll be like half the book. And like, Runt doesn't even mention him. Or he'll just be like, oh, Stump was in class with me. And then later, like, the next book, then he's important again. So it's like, weird stuff like that where these characters, like, they're either used and then thrown out, so nothing is really done with them and they just disappear, or like they fluctuate going in and out, which is also like really strange.
Like one thing about what you said about Stump is, I mean, yeah, I like Stump, and I agree with a lot of what but like I'm not good with words.
It's okay.
But like with like
okay, think about what you're gonna say.
Have you ever had like a because like you know how like when you sometimes you hang out with a friend and you're really close for a while and you don't talk to them for like a couple of weeks, so maybe it's like that. Like Ron just sometimes doesn't really interact with someone, so it's like he's not very important because it's supposed to be a diary of his life. So maybe it's like there's just times where like other stuff is going on and he just doesn't talk to.
Do you remember the Diary of Anne Frank that you read in school?
Yeah.
You didn't like that, did you?
No.
Why didn't you like it?
Because it was boring. They were sitting in an attic for like 200 pages.
So this, first of all, isn't a real diary, correct? Yeah. It's an entertainment book.
Yes.
So even though it's written as the format of the diary, I don't think that's an excuse for plot things happening that don't make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And some people do that. I don't. I think that's weird. But anyway, like, if you have a friend, but then you don't talk to them for a long time, and then you, like, first of all, that's weird, because they live in the same village, and they go to the same school, and they live, I assume, near each other. It's never really addressed, but the village isn't that big. Mm-hmm. So, for Runt to go months or weeks without talking to Stump...
I mean, if each page, like, or like every like chapter, like when they like do like the flip, basically like the main chapters, that's like each a day. So I mean, it could be only he's not so hasn't talked to Ron for like a week or two. I mean, but okay, maybe I see what you're talking about, because like even if we just say that's okay to do that, because like with the diary format, Ron doesn't have very many friends, so he probably would talk to Stump. Like, at least every other day.
I agree. Mm-hmm. But I do get what you're saying. Okay, Stump isn't the worst offender, I agree. Because Stump at least comes back. And you'll be like, oh yeah, Stump, he's back again.
Oh,
he doesn't just vanish, okay? There's other characters that just vanish, okay? Yeah. Like, and Max is one of them. Okay, so the other, and like, okay, so there's, I guess we'll get to that in a second. So let's see. So we agree, we like the first book.
First book's good.
The first book's good. Is this the one where he fights the pig?
Yeah, that's...
No, that's book 2.
Oh yeah, it is book 2.
Okay, one thing I will say about the first book is there's no real climax.
Yeah,
like,
not really.
It just ends, and like I said, I think it's because it was a longer fan fiction broken up. So... be aware that this series doesn't have traditional plot structure in any way. It just kind of goes on from one book to the other. I think literally the author has a note, something like, yeah, I know, what a cliffhanger, right? And then he said, I had to pause somewhere, though. The story picks right up in book 2. So, like, literally the author addresses in the back of the book that, like, it just kind of ends. Like, because that's just the way he wrote it. So, book 2, I actually think is better than book 1. I mean, like, not that I liked book 1. So, like, this was just, you know, basically the same quality, but I liked it even better.
Wait a minute, we just finished book 1, we didn't even talk about, like, Steve and Mike.
Oh, there's another people who disappear! Steve and Mike. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about Steve and Mike. Okay, so Steve and Mike are 2 characters in the first book. Steve especially. So in the first book, Steve is like, a mentor character to Runt. He like inspires the villagers, and he's like really smart. And he has an entire like arc, okay?
Yeah.
Like
He's pretty important.
He's pretty important, okay? And like Runt looks up to him, and it's like this big deal for Runt's character, okay? Literally, as the books go on, Steve gets less and less important until he just is written out of the story altogether.
And also, in the first book, he also trains their battle class, so basically without them, there wouldn't really be any of the combat training.
Yeah, and listen, I understand that sometimes characters, like, you want to leave them, like, a story, like, especially with a mentor character, like, to have the young person do adventures on their own, because if they always have their mentor around, their mentor will always do things for them. But it was never really like that, you know, like...
Because, like, even if it was like that, throughout the book, like, unless until you, like, for the first 2 books at least, Runt is still maturing into, like, a warrior, basically, so Steve could still be there. Like, maybe in, like, book 4 or 5, they, like, started to make him less important, because, like, Runt was becoming more independent, like, that would be cool, but, like, after book 1, he dies, basically, like, as a character. Because, like, from book 1, he goes from being, like, an important character to a book, like, the rest of the books, where he basically just comes... Why can't I eat pizza, basically?
Yeah, he becomes more of a joke character later. Yeah. He is still somewhere around in the second one. And my thing is that you can have a character be around less but still feel like important, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like
sense, yeah.
in Naruto, I know you haven't seen a bunch of Naruto, but so in the original Naruto, Kakashi is really important, right? Because he's their teacher and stuff, and he's got a lot of screen time. And anyone who's watched Naruto knows it goes on for episodes, seasons, all the way into Shippuden, which is, you know, a time jump. Years have passed. And Naruto is doing a lot more stuff on his own without Kakashi. There's, like, entire arcs without Kakashi, okay? But Kakashi still exists in Naruto, and he is still given, like, screen time, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they don't just write him out like, oh, where the fuck is Kakashi? No one knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still important, and he still has moments with Naruto that make their connection good, you know? Because you don't just forget about people, even if you don't see them very much, you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Okay, Toby, so first and second book, really good. Fun comedy, good adventure. If you like Minecraft, you'll probably get a lot of the, like references. Like, if I'm not gonna lie, if you don't know anything about Minecraft, it might be confusing. Like, because basically Runt just assumes that you know some stuff when he's like, you know, like a leaping potion 2 or whatever. Like, you kind of have to already know. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, but like there's all, like stuff like, because all the mobs, they don't, like, Runt doesn't explain them. They're just, you should know what they are. And also in book 1 and just all the books, honestly, like, it starts in book 1, but they get really, the mobs are really smart. Like, it's kind of like if, like, yeah, I mean, it could be like a strategy game as the mobs, like, because, like, they do a bunch of cool stuff that, like, Runt tells you about, like, when they do, like, the slime bomb thing, where a bunch of slimes pile on a creeper and then they get blown over the wall.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, doesn't make any sense, because then baby slimes don't do damage, so it's like, why would they do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually, in one of the, like, the third book or something, Ron actually talks about how slime bombs are actually great, because slime balls actually sell for, like, an emerald each. Yeah, most of their currency. So...
It's such a bizarre memory,
yeah,
but yes.
So, yeah, and so he was like, woo, let's run and catch some of them, but that doesn't actually happen. That's like an attack, but sure.
No.
We can talk about that later.
No, that's fine. No, yeah, that's a good point. Like, yeah, so, like, certain stuff like that, like, with the mob attacks and stuff, like, if you don't have a good idea of what all the mobs do or the monsters, like, it will be a little confusing, but I think you can still understand it. You just basically have to take Runt's word for everything.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Like, I just thought of something that I kind of wanted to talk about, though. I think this might be a little bit of a plot hole. Like, so in the first book, they talked about, like, in some of the methods to get over, they talk about, like, how spiders will carry mobs over, and, like, they build, like, zombie ladders. Like, especially with the zombie ladder, couldn't, like, they just send, like, a bunch of mobs in and then just completely destroy the village, get a creeper to blow up, boom, kill the villagers?
The spider ladder?
Yeah, because, like, they carry the spiders over, or, like, just the zombie ladder, mobs could walk up it and then get in the village.
Don't they, like, destroy the ladders, though?
Well, but, like, if you get enough spiders, the spiders could carry all the mobs over, so they get a creeper or two, blow up a house, have the zombies go in and kill the villagers. Because the villagers, like, not like they could defend themselves in book 1. They could barely do that in book 2.
That's true, but I feel like the mobs weren't as smart in book 1.
Yeah. Because, like, Ron says, like, eventually they're gonna realize, wait, why are we using creepers to blow slimes with wall when we just blow up the wall and go kill them? So,
yeah.
I think it's like, they're just annoying the villagers, they don't realize they could completely destroy them.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's stuff like that where if you think about it, you're like, oh, that doesn't make that much sense, or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. But it's a weird world, so they can kind of get away with that, just saying, like, oh, just cause. It's like, I don't really know.
Yeah, pretty much, like, we don't know the exact, that's kind of true, like, even when I read, like, the most recent book, I mean, we've had 5 books to world build, I still don't really know what the rules are, you know? Because in the first book, it's like, oh, we're so not advanced and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're, like, at the mercy of the mobs. But then in book 5, it's like, oh, no, we've had, like, civilization the whole time.
Because, like, in book 5, they're, like, they're, like, okay, we'll get to book 5.
Okay, we'll get to book 5. Okay, so, book 1 and 2, good. And book 2 actually has a climax. Okay, 8 out of 10 is a good one.
Yeah.
Like, it has a climax that's good and a pretty good, like, arc. Okay, so let's
talk about, like, the boss fight at the end, or
we can if you want to. I mean, I liked it. I don't think there's that much to say.
I mean, yeah, I don't really think there's all that much to say either. Though, like, I'm just trying to think. So one thing that I think is weird is, like, this is another thing about, like, the later books. I'm sure you could say this is the same thing as earlier with the plot hole, but, like, not really. It's how, in the later books, they say they're mining all the stuff, so they're, like, even running out of cobblestone. Where are they getting their emeralds, then? where do the emeralds come from? Are they super common to this world?
Yeah, and that's like things that's like dropped, right? Yeah. Because it's like, oh, we're running out of mining, but then they don't talk about that.
Because like in book 5, they find like the basically civilization, and then like Ron wants this thing, and then like the lady who's selling it is like, oh, I'll give you a deal, 2,500 emeralds, and Ron had like 100 that he gotten because like emeralds were so much more rare there, so he was like, what?
Can't he just mine for emeralds?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, mining like over thousands, like 2,000 emeralds, that's like not gonna happen. And also, that would be really boring in the book. Like he's mining for 200 pages.
Okay. So let's talk about book 3. Okay, so the boss fight at the end of book 2 is good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Solid book. Okay. So I liked book 3 too. I don't know if this one has an actual climax.
Wait, doesn't Herobrine show up at the end of this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and also, it's also in it because like the slime creeper attack thing. You remember that?
No.
Oh, okay. So they have like slimes.
I'm not saying these books are very memorable.
Okay, so near the end of the book, they're like sitting on the wall because they thought that they think there's gonna be a slime bomb, so they're just sitting there looking at it, and they realize there's slimes moving towards them, and there's creepers behind them. So the idea is get the creepers to the wall, blow it up. Probably didn't need to explain that, but whatever. But so they start like, oh, we'll just shoot those slimes because that's what they always do, just throw arrows at it. But then they're not like, doing any damage. So they're like, huh, what? So then they realize, oh, they must be really, they're just buffed basically. So they ran out there and started stabbing them to death. And
is your point? How could the stabbing hurt them, but not the shooting?
Wait, what do you mean? Is my point?
Wait, what is your point? Were you talking about a plot hole?
I don't even know what I was gonna say, but just move on.
Wait, what was your point?
I don't remember. I don't think I even output it.
Why are you explaining a random scene?
I don't know, okay? I mean, it kind of was just whatever.
Are you sure? Because we had a point.
I don't think I had a point. I think it was just...
Alright. Yeah. There's an example of something that happened in the story by Toby, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Breeze. So, Breeze is introduced in the second book, and then she's throughout the rest of the books.
She's pretty important.
Get used to Breeze, okay? So what do you think of her?
I think she's kind of like just mediocre. Like, she's not great, she's not bad. She's basically just like, she's pals with Ron and she's superpowers because why not?
Yeah.
So it's
just a spoiler. You don't have to say everything.
Well, we're doing a review about it, so I mean,
but we're trying to keep it spoiler free, okay?
Okay, ignore what I just said then.
No, you can say some stuff, but just not everything. Okay, so, same. Breeze basically, so, in the second book, she's introduced, and then I was like, oh, cringe, okay? Because she's, like, introduced as this, like, shy girl, and it's, like, implied she has a crush on Runt. I'm like,
my gosh, that would have been awful.
Okay, but then at the end of the second book, they're just friends. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, first of all, she becomes actually interesting. She has, like, a cool twist in her backstory, which Toby kind of told you, but you don't know why. But she has one of those interesting backstories of all of them. Although, it's interesting, but it is kind of cliche. Like, it's not like nothing you've ever seen before, you know?
But I mean, it's not like it's a pretty good backstory because like with Ron, what's his backstory? He was living a boring life, and then
he was constantly, his village was constantly attacked, and he like was inspired and stuff to be a warrior, even though he never thought that was possible. I think Ron's backstory is fine. You don't need to have a backstory like my parents are dead to be interesting.
Yeah, I know.
And like his like motivations are more like fleshed out than Breeze's. I guess she just wants like revenge.
Yeah. And Ron wants to help the villagers.
And so I liked her in book 2 and even through part of book 3. But this is what I don't count as a spoiler. But later they become a couple, which is cringe. Like. Because there's no reason for it. That was the thing. I liked when they were just friends, okay? Because I swear to you, there's no, like, romantic tension. There's no, like, flirting. No, at the end of, like, at book 3 or somewhere in here, they literally just, like, hold hands and they're like, we're together now. And Run's like, I'm in love with her. And it almost feels like Cube Kid, the author, was like, Runt needs a girlfriend, so now they're together. Like, it is like...
Take all of Breeze's qualities, throws out girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Great. But, like... And that's my thing, like, if you wanted Runt to have a girlfriend, fine, although he's 12, so I don't know why he needs one. And also, like, when you're, like, fighting a war, do you really have time to think about love? Like, not so much.
So, like, about this person said about the war, like, it's kind of like, this is a pretty dark series, honestly, because it's kind of shown that the mobs are at least somewhat intelligent, so they're basically murdering these sentient beings.
Oh yeah, no, the series is really dark.
And the mobs want to basically murder every single villager here.
Yeah,
they've done it to other villages.
I told this to Toby. So the story is basically about child soldiers, okay? Whether you want to accept it or not. And like it is done in a very like fun way, although like if you think about it for 2 seconds, they're child soldiers. The mobs want to genocide their entire race, and every time they kill the mobs, they're killing a sentient creature. So think about that when you read these.
Yeah.
But it does make the stakes more interesting, I guess.
Although
like sometimes it's a little like, but like it's a Minecraft book. Would you really want Run to address that? No.
No.
Then he would be like,
weird.
I just killed this living. No, like it's okay.
There's 40 pages of Run just grieving for the zombie.
That would be horrible. We don't want that. No. But it's
that'd be
kind
interesting,
of a joke.
But it would not.
It would not fit this series at all. Traumatize the children reading it. So my problem with Breeze mostly is that she's not that bad, but she's not anything overly special. I can tolerate her, and I'm not like, oh, I hate Breeze. I'm definitely not. But like, I just feel like I don't know why they had to get together. And if Cube Kid did want them to get together, then he should have actually like introduced that as an idea. You know?
Yeah, like maybe like instead of saying it's gonna happen right now in book 3, like set it up, and then maybe like sometime in book 4 they'd gotten together.
Yeah, and like actually had events and bonding like romantically. You know, they literally just go from being friends to together with no in between. Like it's really strange.
And like they're probably like, even if there was an in between, it's not like you get told about it, so it's just like deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we can only assume it didn't happen. So anyway, so Breeze is okay, but I don't like that she's randomly run. Although by the end of the books, I do believe at the beginning their relationship was like why, but I do believe they actually care about each other. You know, especially in the later books. I think Cube Kid is a good day of like conveying their love for each other, which is kind of fucking weird. But like, like, do you remember in like this book? It's okay. This is the 4th book, or like it's the 5th. It's like it's at the end when they like finish the battle, and she's like in a dress and they go dancing together. Doesn't he just seem like he really loves her?
Wait, so do you want to talk about Emerald?
Emerald. I was going to mention her too. So the other chick on here in Crafting Alliances with her is Emerald, the pink girl. That's Breeze down there. Runt's over here. Which, by the way, I was looking, and Runt's height changes between covers, and Breeze's skin color changes. They whitewashed Breeze in the 5th book. Okay. So Emerald. Okay. Speaking of characters who come into the story and then vanish, okay, here's Emerald's funky ass, okay? So Emerald, basically, she's in the 1st book, but like literally name dropped. That's it. They're like, he's like, a girl named Emerald goes to my school. Like, I believe she never even has a line of dialogue.
Wait, like, I just gonna interrupt you for a second. Do you want to talk about how Pebble was like name dropped in the 1st one, then he's villain in the 2nd one?
Oh yeah. Okay, so
backtrack.
Yeah, between the 1st and 2nd books, I'm sorry, there's a lot of material to get through. Okay. So basically, I told you that. What is okay? Like between the 1st and 2nd book, there's a character named Max. I told you, and he was the bully, but he becomes the friend.
Yeah.
So Cube Kid also has this idea that he needs a bully character at all times. Okay. Why? Because an actual war is going on, so I would think there'd be enough conflict. I don't know. I don't mind it.
Bullies, yeah.
Me too. I mean, it's kind of a classic, but it's good.
Yeah.
So when Max becomes not the bully, he realizes he needs a new bully. So a guy he just name dropped in the 1st book, he probably just looked back through random names and picked one, okay? A guy named Pebble becomes the new baddie, okay? Or the bully, okay? And he starts bullying him and Max, Runt and Max, like kind of mercilessly. He's kind of like...
He's an awful person. Like, this should be like expelled from school if it was real life.
Literally like beating Run up and like throwing him in like the well and shit. Like really like hardcore bullying. Like when Max bullied him, like Max was like a fucking dick.
Yeah, but it was like teasing.
Yeah, it was mostly teasing, and it usually never got physical. Like it was never like Max beat the shit out of me today. Like no, it was more like Max was like, "Ha, you're such a loser, Runt." Like you know.
And also one thing that's weird is like, okay, this is like how they like beat like a Runt up and then like take all his stuff or something.
Yeah, like they're just robbing him.
And also like Run's
kind of
not like
bullying
the
is this?
best person in the school, like warrior-wise, because like there's a ranking system, but he's in like the top 5 or so typically from a
Yeah.
school. So could he have like pulled out a sword and like stabbed Pebble or something?
I think maybe he was well, first of all, that'd be murder.
Well, not kill him, but like hit him in the face with like a wooden sword. That would give him.
That's true, but it is said because they're like that's a good point.
Yeah, but also Run does say that there's like
2 other guys
who's with his friends.
Pebble
And,
got
like
crew.
if you smack someone in the face with a sword, that's gonna escalate, and they might pull out their sword and hit you even harder.
Yeah,
and-
I guess
yeah.
Run takes the path of least resistance. I guess
Yeah.
is letting himself be bullied. So,
Yeah.
so that's a thing. So that's an example. So Pebble just like, and by the way, Pebble actually has a weird arc. We'll talk about Pebble in a little bit,
yeah.
but yeah. So Emerald is kind of like Pebble, and she just kind of comes to existence. Okay, now Emerald is not fucking important. Okay,
No, not really.
she gets the most screen time in this book, and they have this weird, like, emotional moment with her in book 4. Do you remember where they're at the hot tub, and then she talks about, like, am I a coward?
No.
I remember that scene because it was fucking weird. Okay, the point is, Emerald doesn't really do anything for the plot. She doesn't advance anything. She's just kind of there. She's not, like, I mean, I don't think, when I read Emerald, I wasn't like, oh, I hate this character, but she didn't really, like, make me feel anything.
She didn't really do a whole lot. Like
She really doesn't. She does, like, nothing. Literally in the climax of the second book, she runs away. And she's not there. Do you remember?
I think she runs away. I remember. I was gonna think she got hit away, but I remember that was Breeze. In like second way, like literally all she does in the battle is run away and get some iron golems, and they come back and Run's already won. It's like, oh Breeze, oh hey Emerald, you're a big nerd.
100%. So like, basically she's not important. I don't know why she's there.
Honestly, instead of Arf is better. He's like
Okay.
he's the. You want to talk about him or?
Briefly, we don't need to waste time. Okay.
In the first book, like he's basically their combat teacher. He's a total noob, but he did almost beat a zombie to death with stick though. So
He's kind of a joke character.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
He is pretty funny. And then he's in like the first 2 books. But here's my problem with Earth. He goes from like this jokey character to being an actual villain.
Oh
in
yeah,
2.8
but
seconds.
he's not even. He's barely a villain. His villain moment is I took a bunch of their stuff and ran away, and then he. Oh, I guess he's in the 5th book. Yeah.
Okay, that's my thing. So we'll get there in the 5th book, but so Earth is a strange character because Cube Kid does this, okay? He'll either forget about characters entirely, like he did Max, or he'll forget about them and then realize he's forgotten about them. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna bring them back and make them do something. But it's always very odd because it's like
he was. Yeah, like Earth was pretty important in book 1 and 2. He basically doesn't exist in book 3 and 4. He's just really talked about. He's not there. And then book 5 at the end, he kind of is villain man.
he's the villain at the end. But like it hasn't been foreshadowed the whole time.
He's
He's
there.
just there. It's kind of like what? Like you remember who he is, and you're like, how did this happen? Like, okay, I have to take your word for it.
Yeah, book 1 and 2, he's a total noob who basically all he does is cause problems because he gets Steve triggered, so he stops teaching them. Then book 3 and 4, it's he took a bunch of our stuff and ran to join Hero Brian. And then in book 5, he's a magic wizard person somehow.
I think he said. I think like Run even says that he's like, how are you this good? And then he's like, the Dark Wizard gave me his gifts. The point is, I don't know if listen, it's still not great, but I like it better than like what happened to Max because at least Cube Kid remembered him and then it was like, oh, I'm gonna give him a conclusion to his arc.
Yeah.
Also, they killed him, but anyway, that's a different story. He was asking for it. Okay. The point is, don't think too hard about the morals because you will be like,
The frick.
this is dark. Like,
Yeah.
like, anyway, and they're really not meant to be thought about that way. They're just like fun stories. Don't think about like how every zombie that Run kills might have a family. Don't think about that. Okay, that's not important.
Also, just like about the zombie thing, he actually jokes about how I assume it's a joke at least. How there's like a civilization, and he's like, I refuse to believe there's a zombie with a better like combat score than me.
Yeah. No, Run is pretty funny.
Yeah,
I
Run's funny.
will admit that. So Emerald is kind of one of those characters. She just like doesn't really, honestly, take her out of the books. Nothing changes.
Pretty much.
I mean, but she's not the worst. It's not like I hated her. I just like, she's just not.
I want to say book 4 or 5. I'm not sure which one, but I remember they talked about her being like rich or something, and like that's it.
Oh yeah, like her personality is basically like I'm rich, and then her personality is like I'm like kind of cool.
Yeah, she's like popular, so like she for like a little bit like Runt goes asks her like, hey, fam, can you help me become not like the most hated person in
like okay, actually let's talk about that for a second. So I actually like what they do in book 3, and it's more explored in book 4 actually, because book 4 is the best one, at least in my opinion. You can have your own opinion.
I don't really care which one. I don't really have one that I find a favorite.
Basically, one of the things that makes me a little frustrated is that Cube Kid can clearly write a good character. For example, like, I like Runt. Runt is compelling and interesting all throughout the entire books, and he changes as a person. And problems with Runt are addressed within the book. For example, in Crafting Alliances, basically he realizes he's kind of an asshole to everyone. And, that's something that, like, you don't see a lot in, like, young protagonists for children. Yeah. They usually, like, don't self-examine or actually try to change themselves. And Runt is the good guy. So some authors are very afraid of making their good guys have any real flaws. And basically, in this book, like, so Runt basically is like, oh yeah, people don't really like me because I'm not very nice. And, like, so then that's something he has to work on and he gets better at. So, like, I like that he actually changes and stuff as a person. So you could say maybe Emerald does that, but it's still, like, kind of weak.
But yeah, it's like...
And if she did, she still should have either had an exit or, like, you know how, like...
Or she should have kept her around.
She kind of, like, peters out and then leaves, so it feels like a mistake, you know? Like, if they had something where Emerald was like, I'm not going to be a warrior anymore or something, like... And then, like, they parted ways. Does that make sense? I don't know.
So, actually, never mind. I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was. Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to talk about Lola now.
Oh, yeah, Lola,
okay, so this is the 4th book, Path of the Diamond, it's called, okay? The best one in this series, in my opinion. Toby might have a different opinion.
I don't really have a different opinion.
But this book is weird because it's more mature than the others. It doesn't have a traditional, like... So you have to remember, none of these have contained stories, really. They're all just one book that's cut into 5 pieces, okay? Yeah. Although 5 has more of a contained series, but 5 is questionable,
yeah, we'll talk about 5.
We'll talk about 5. 5 is my least favorite, okay? But in this book, they deal with really mature and interesting ideas. So, Toby, I don't know if you've thought about it this deeply, okay? Get ready to get one, kid, okay? So, I'm not going to spoil everything, but I'm going to tell you kind of the main idea of this book. So, throughout the first 4 books into this one, Runt is training in the village, and they're fighting off the mobs, and he's continuing to get better, and, like, the stakes keep increasing and stuff like that, okay? Yeah. So, in the 4th book, he's trying to basically become, like, a warrior captain, and he meets this girl named Lola, okay? So, he's trying to get the best team of people that he can, okay? And Lola is a new character she's introduced, and basically, she's really smart. That's, like, her thing. She's a smarty pants, okay? And he's like, yes, you're on my team, because he's like, basically, I'm not going to get into the details because you don't need to know, and if you read, you'll find out. Basically, he wants to use her for one specific trait, her intelligence, okay? Yeah. And he's like, hell yeah. But then he realizes she sucks at everything else. Everything else. She's, like, a terrible fighter. She's, like, kind of naive. Like, and he's like, I just took a liability onto my team at this point, okay?
It's like, because, like, everyone in, like, the school gets, like, a combat score from, like, 0 to 100. 0 is total noob, 100 is total pro skiller. Yeah. I think Lola's combat skill is, like, 3 or something.
Yeah, 3%, exactly. Yeah. And then his friends, Runt's friends, start getting mad at him for bringing Lola onto their team because Lola is weighing them down. Yeah. And Runt has to basically deal with what it means to be a leader, basically. Because he's basically said that he has a responsibility to Lola right now because he made the choice to use her, right? And then his friends are upset with his choice and he has to pay the consequences for his action. He has to learn how to manage a team. And I think that's really interesting. And I've never seen that addressed in a children's book before, ever. Mostly because most 12-year-olds don't have to think about being a leader in their community. But, like, it's really about responsibility and, like, knowing what it means to have people underneath you. You know, once again, I don't know how a child would benefit so much with this, but me, I guess because I'm older, it resonated with me more because I don't have, like, I don't have a great authority position, but you do have moments where there are people you are responsible for, and it is you to take care of them and to effectively complete your task. Like when you're at work, it's important for you to delegate so you can get the job done as well as possible and keep everyone engaged and working with you and not having your feelings hurt. So this is my favorite book. I don't know about Toby, but
it's a good book, yeah.
And it's hilarious. Okay, there's a section here. I won't spoil the joke. It's the series where they like switch around. It's hilarious. Okay, I was crying when I was reading it, like, because it was so funny. So I really like this book. I like Lola. I really like Lola. I really like her and Run's relationship. Hold on to this. Stump is in this book a lot. Breeze is in this book. Oh, this is when Pebble goes crazy. Okay.
Oh yeah, Pebble goes crazy.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Pebble. So remember Pebble. In the second book, he comes out of nowhere, and then he's just like, I'm the bully now. Punch, punch, okay? He's there throughout book 3 too. At least Pebble doesn't vanish, you know what I'm saying? He's there, and I like that because that's the way to do it. It's not like Pebble's in every scene. I don't need Stump to be in every scene or Emerald to be in every scene, but they show up enough that you're like, oh yeah, you're a real thing. And Pebble contributes something, right? Pebble is important as like an antagonist. You know, what does Emerald add? I guess she kind of teaches him about like how to be popular and like make connections, but like not that much.
Not really.
It's
like,
I think that was the point of her, but I don't think Cube Kid got that across as well as he could have. And if they did have this really good connection, I don't know why it's dropped later. So, okay, so that's what I have to say about this one. I like it a lot, and I think it's good, and you should definitely read this one, although you should read the first 3 because it won't make any sense without them.
It will make a lot less.
A lot less, and they're actually good.
Alright, now it's time for 5. We're probably just going to complain this entire time.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
Okay, so, you know all those characters that I actually liked and stuff, okay? They're not in this book. I'm just kidding. Okay, Runt is in this book, and he's the only character I like. Okay.
And Breeze. And that's it.
Have fun with Breeze and Run for 1,000,000 pages. Breeze isn't even in the first half, okay? When she showed up, I was kind of like cringe, but I was also like, thank God, someone we know. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Like it's been Run for 150 pages.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so listen, Run. Okay, let me just quickly say. So books 1 through 4 are in Village Town. Okay, so we care about this town. We spent a lot of time here. Run's parents are here. We have so many characters here that we care about, and they have a whole school and system and teachers, and like the point is like I am invested in Village Town's protection. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I had 4 books to set that up, and Runt cares about it a lot. Okay, book 5, they just leave. They just leave Village Town straight up.
Just look at the front page. It's like it's a pony.
It's called like quest mode. Okay, cringe. First of all, I'm just kidding. It's a Minecraft series. It's kind of cringe, but like
when you're watching a Minecraft series, you got like raise your cringe meter of like don't even get cringe.
Yeah, like you have to. I mean, he says like a noob lord all the time. Like you have you have to accept that. Okay? Otherwise, you'll never get through the first 3 pages. Okay, I mean it is for children. Okay,
so like
I just happen to be old as hell reading it. Listen, okay, but he's allowed to read it.
I'm a crafter.
What does that mean? Ew, is that like a Minecraft fan?
I guess, yeah.
What was I talking about? Wait, this book. Okay, so within the first, actually, I like the first like 25 pages of this because they're still in Village Town.
Yeah.
And then guess what happens when I talk about no warning to a transition? There's none.
Yeah, like one of the minor-ish characters shows up, gives them some cash monies, a horse, and says, "Skedaddle, skidoo."
Yeah, literally in the middle of the fucking night, some random-ass minor character. I mean, I knew who he was and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's not totally insignificant, but he's not that important. No. Okay, he's really not. Yeah. He shows up in the middle of the night, knocks on Runt's window, and then basically gives him a horse and some supplies and says, "You need to go on a journey to get this thing." And then Runt says, "Why?" And then Colbert is the guy's name. Is that how I say it? He says, "Because I had a vision." Or something like that. Because I know you have to, or Village Town will be destroyed. Okay?
Which is
Runt just fucking believes him and leaves!
Literally, Gohan could have been like trying to get the Runt killed and it would have worked perfectly.
Literally,
ride out with him, stab him, leave. Runt would be dead.
Runt
like that.
Didn't question it for like 2 seconds. I literally want to read you this part, okay?
Yeah, just do it. Do it for the memes.
Okay. This is his... Okay. I have no idea. This is so retarded.
It is a little.
Okay, get ready for this, okay? Okay. Knock, knock, knock. Huh? Who's knocking? It must be my mom. I slept in. I'll be late for school. I actually thought that in my deep sleep until my eyes flew open and I sat up straight in bed. But there was no way someone could have been knocking on my door. I had been so tired earlier I forgot to shut it. That was when I saw the shadowy figure standing just outside my window. Whoever it was a human. When I looked closer, yes, the human most definitely resembled Colbert. Come with me, hero. I have questions about that line. Mm-hmm. He took me to his house, to a small dark room, a secret library.
Assassination attempt.
I was gonna joke come in my dark basement, run. I'm just
stab, boom, easy.
Mine wasn't a murder joke. There, he told me everything. How we'd be attacked. They knew they were going to be attacked the whole time. They've been confused. How we couldn't possibly defend ourselves. We needed better armor, weapons, items. How a standard crafting table wouldn't be enough. He showed me a book, an ancient book. Okay, you get the idea. This is all just told to us, by the way. All this, revealing, which might have been impactful. He's just he just told me about it.
Oh, and also,
what do you mean? Runt has spent his entire life at this point training his ass off to defend the village, and then Colbert's you can't possibly defend yourselves.
Oh, and also,
and then Runt's
they can get better stuff because they've got I think no diamond. Yeah, they got no diamonds. So find those, guys.
This is bullshit. The point is, Colbert just gives them this quest. And he doesn't really say why, he just says, we need to. You just read the reason. We're going to be destroyed. They were going to be destroyed the whole time, attacked anyway. The whole point was to try to get strong enough so they wouldn't be attacked. But now Runt's all my training, bullshit, wasn't even close to enough. I'm going to go on this quest that we've never talked about before. It hasn't been foreshadowed at all.
Well, no, but it was foreshadowed a little, because didn't Max talk about how there was more advanced crafting tables they could try to find?
Yes, but that was one line in one book.
So it's it was basically name dropped pretty much
yeah, basically name dropped. Okay, oh yeah, we forgot to talk about how Pebble went crazy. We never talked about that.
You want to go back?
Yeah. Okay.
Go back.
Back to book 4. Okay. So here's my thing. I actually like this. Some people don't. Do you like it?
Yeah, I liked how.
Okay. So in book 4, we're not going to say the specifics, but basically Pebble goes from being a bully to a full-on villain. Okay.
Yes.
He does some fucked up shit. And it's crazy, okay? Yeah. It's crazy. But I like it, okay? Yeah. And I didn't think it was that unbelievable because Pebble is a really shitty person. And one other thing that I liked about it is his motivation for it was kind of twisted, but in the original justification for it, what he told Runt was one thing that Pebble, even though he's a complete dick to Runt and a lot of people around him, he does care about the village to the point where he is willing to throw himself into harm's way to protect it, okay?
Because basically what his justification basically is so he calls Rum a noob, and for a lot of that, it seems he's just teasing him. But in this book, he reveals that he actually does think that. He thinks he's if Rum actually becomes one of these top warriors, that's gonna actually be bad for the village.
Yeah, so basically he just takes it to a whole new level and does some really bad stuff. Okay, and then he gets should we say what happens?
I guess. Just don't go super specific about it, I guess.
Okay, basically, Pebble ends up leaving the village, okay? That's all I'll say. Anyway, and I liked it. That's important for the next book. Basically, this whole book is good, okay?
Which is kind of weird, because, yes, what he does is way more crazy, but he's been basically dabbing all over Runt for, 3 books, so I think...
And think about it, if someone is sadistic enough to, beat the shit out of someone over and over again, I don't think it's that much of a step to take it...
Yeah,
further,
because it's they're not it's not they care about this person. They can totally
do something. Yeah, and another thing is that I think it matches Pebble's motivation because Pebble's thing was the village, right? And imagine a war is mounting. He's getting more stressed out, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe he started to kind of get paranoid, and be if I don't do something, people are gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm, So it actually works, in my opinion. Yeah, Q-Kid doesn't think it works because later it comes back. Okay, do you remember the whole potion and shit?
Yes, I remember it. All right, 5th book time.
We already started the 5th book. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we just talked about... So in the 5th book, we were basically saying it was dumb. We backtracked a little. That he just randomly goes on this quest without asking any questions.
Yep.
And he's not but Colbert, I've been working this whole time. He's not how do you know this? Why haven't you said anything before? Colbert's lived here since book 3, I think.
Yeah, I think they show up in book 3.
And Colbert's never mentioned this. Like, he just sat on his hands.
Does it ever mention that he gets visions, or?
No.
Well, there you go. There's a plot hole.
or I don't remember. He just comes out of freaking nowhere, okay? And then...
The whole book just...
Basically, the whole book comes out of freaking nowhere. It's a good way to describe it, okay?
After this...
and my favorite thing is... Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so after this amazing scene of randomness, Ron decides, and Cube Kid decides, let's do what The Last Jedi did. Let's just have run for, like, what, 50 pages?
But it's even worse, okay? Okay, listen, I wanted to say one more thing. Also, you know that squad we spent all that last time establishing? You know the last book I talked about how it was a lot about leadership and about how it's getting Lola and Stump and Breeze to all get along and stuff, and Emerald too? Runt abandons his team, okay?
Everyone.
No one, literally, like, you think, like, going on a journey, it might be helpful to, like, bring your friends?
Yeah, like, or even if he didn't want to bring anyone, maybe could have told his best friend, or his girlfriend, or literally anyone, anything, his parents?
His parents! Yeah, his parents, the leader of the village.
Yeah,
like,
maybe you should tell the mayor, because the mayor literally told you, you need to make this diary about our town, so maybe you should just say, see a nerd, and then dab off. Probably not.
I forgot about that, but that's a good point. Yeah,
yep.
Another abandoned thing Q-Kid decides he doesn't care about anymore. The point is, the entire, like, I was really, like, upset because all the characters we spent so much time getting to know are entirely abandoned, and Runt just sets out on his own. And for the next 50 to 100 pages, Runt is by himself. And as Toby mentioned with the running thing, he's not even running. He's walking, okay?
He's riding.
He's riding. So for the next 50 pages, Runt is just riding the horse through the wilderness and nothing happens. Nothing.
It's pretty boring. Yeah.
It's boring. Like, I was literally struggling to get through it, okay? And I have never had that problem before
and also,
in all these books.
with it, even after thinking, after then it's like, if something great happens, not really. It doesn't get that much better for a little longer.
Yeah. Okay. So it gets better at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, and then at the very beginning, like the 20 pages before he leaves, because that's the normal good stuff we've been enjoying this whole time. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh boy. No. No. So our point is that section is pretty boring, okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna get through this rather quickly, okay? We've spent, I know this is already a super long video, okay? Okay.
Keep trucking.
So basically, eventually, Breeze does show up again. Am I excited that it's Breeze? Not really, but I am, like, at least we know her. Like,
And also, at least it's not any more Run. We don't need any more Run.
yeah, that's the weird thing too, is like, I like Run, you know? But Run has no one to interact with. It's literally just Run talking about, like, the grass and the trees. Like, nothing interesting happens on this journey. And I get it, okay? I've written stories where she's on a long journey about a character. Not she, but like... And I get it. Sometimes when you're on a journey, you just walk, right? Like, not that much happens. Because in real life, monsters aren't popping out of her, but you skip those parts, right?
Or you bring in someone, another character, so the characters can interact.
Yeah, exactly. So if he had brought his whole squad, I don't think walking for a bunch of pages would have been that boring.
It could have been really interesting.
Exactly. To continue to build this team relationship. But no, Q-Kid, he abandons this. He
What a
gives
bunch
up.
of nerds, throw him out.
Yeah, and then, okay, so Bree shows up, yada yada. They go to, so this is kind of weird. So then they show up to this town where there's like elves and dwarves and all this shit that's never been
It's
mentioned.
like, basically like, so, like for a lot of the book, there's kind of in like a, is this a game or is this real? And then they show up and it's basically like they're in an online MMO.
Yeah. What? But, like, they never had any of these elves or dwarves come to their hometown. Like, they had refugees from other villages that were destroyed by
Like,
the mobs.
They talk about how there's like a wolf person that shows up once and like, that's it.
Yeah, once again, Q-Kid thinks that name dropping one thing is then justified to have it, like, be important later. And, like,
Yeah,
not
very important.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like,
So then, yeah, he has this dumb emerald quest. He basically has to
Get a-
save up money to buy a crafting table, okay?
to save their village, yeah.
To save their village, but, like, I wish it was more, like, I don't know, like, the whole time Runt has been training to be a warrior. Wouldn't it be better if the quest was actually related to that goal? Like, what if Colbert was like, you need to travel to this place to, like, defeat this mob because he's gonna come kill us all?
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty cool.
That would be cooler than Runt, I gotta save my pennies to buy a crafting table. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I swear, there's an entire scene where him and Breeze go to a shop
And shop.
and shop. 100%.
Oh, and also,
like,
it's not even interesting. Like,
No.
with the items, it's like maybe it's a little better, but there's literally.
They
like
literally
15
talk about how to
pages.
get the best deal for a long time.
Like, there's like 10, 15 pages where they're devoted to buying healing potions. They literally go and buy all the ingredients.
Okay.
It's so boring.
Okay, and it's like, I came here to watch Red either have fun with his friends, defeat monsters, or like, you know, this is about a fucking war. Like, okay, no, get ready. This is the content we're here for, okay? I went over the numbers with Breeze. If we wanted to craft 15 splash healing potions, we needed 15 bottles at 1 emerald each.
Complicated stuff here, guys.
15 pieces of nether wart at 3 emeralds each, and 15 handfuls of gunpowder, also at 3 emeralds each. 15 emeralds plus 45 emeralds plus 45 equals, no, minus a total of, I think I got lost. But anyway, the point is, this is literally like a paragraph. Him just, like, I don't care. Like, just say, we bought some splash healing potions. I don't care. Or,
Like-
or we saved some money by buying the ingredients for splash potions,
Also-
and then we made them.
Here's the thing, they literally sell normal healing potions, so why do they just buy those? That would
They were trying to save money.
I know, but I'd rather it be a plot hole than that.
No, I think it would have been justifiable because they are saving money. First of all, they should have a different quest involving warriorhood and not buying something. But
Making the cash money.
but because Cube Kid is already committed to this bad idea, just literally have them say, we bought the ingredients to make potions to save money.
it should
Period.
be 1 page
Period.
max, not like 10 pages.
Ugh, it's not great. And think about it. Do you remember how Colbert is like, how Runt's like, Colbert told me we'd never make it, and that whole conversation isn't like acted out? But then I'm like, it seems kind of important, like when Runt asks questions. But then this scene where they're shopping and literally nothing happens except they like debate prices, that should be a scene where they're like, we went shopping. Period. Why is this spelled out? Like, anyway, we're done. But it's boring as fuck.
Moving on.
So they finally do something actually interesting, and it takes a while to become interesting, okay? Like, basically the book is like going at a snail's pace, and then it slowly starts getting a little better, and then a little better, and then I say by the end of the book, it's kind of how it usually is, like,
Yeah, it's
good.
like pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I liked the boss fight at the end. It was good.
Yeah, it was
they have
good.
like a boss fight. They do have an actual climax in this book.
Yeah. So basically, after they shop for like 15 pages, they do the quest. They do a quest to make money to buy the thing. So they go find this dungeon thing, which and then there's another dumb scene where they like it's a little justifiable because the dungeon basically breaks all the everything they knew about their world.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, so they can't break anything. So they like realize what so they actually break multiple items because it doesn't work, and they
Oh, yeah.
they do it multiple times. Like, what do you think? Like,
That seems drug on a little too long.
yeah, it was like they're smarter than us.
Yeah, they're smarter than this. I would say so. That's kind of like, that's a good example of a bigger issue is Cube Kid, even though we know he's a capable writer because
The other 4 books
those are
were good.
great, he
Yeah.
does have I want to say it's almost like a pacing issue. Sometimes he doesn't know how long scenes should go on for. So he'll make scenes that should be short too long, or scenes that should be taken time with too short. And that is a problem in the first books as well. It's just not as noticeable because none of the scenes are that bad and nothing that I can't explain
with all
it.
the other
but
books, it's like a minor issue, but like book 5 could be half as long.
literally,
Like,
and the
it'd be
section
way
in the
better.
middle could be chopped. If you read
Pretty
this
much.
book, I recommend the first 20 pages, and then I'd skip to like 145 and then read to the end.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like 100 pages that literally contribute nothing, by the way.
like you can read it if you want to, but like you're
There's
not
no
gonna.
point.
There's no.
There's no real reason to. I mean, it literally doesn't add anything to Run's character or anything. It's just like literally like Run
running and then shopping.
chopping, and he doesn't like learn anything on his journey or anything. Anyway, so by the end of the book, they have a boss battle. Okay, Pebble comes back. Spoiler alert, but you know, I kind of figured he would. But like Cube Kid decides to like kind of rewrite part of his personality. Basically, I think what had happened was somebody said like Pebble wouldn't do this, and then he was like, oh shit. And then he tried to justify it with like magic. But like I didn't really feel like that was necessary. And I felt like it kind of robbed Pebble's character of some of his like what made him him.
Yeah.
But it was okay. That part I didn't hate too much. And the end boss battle is good, and by the end of it, it feels like the old story again, which is good. Which is good in this case.
So yeah, and like near the end of the book, it's basically they go through the dungeon, and then at the end they meet the boss, which that's where they meet Urf again. Because
he hasn't been here since book 3.
So basically the main challenge is because the boss is normally pretty easy, but he gave it a bunch of buffs. Urf did, so then they have to fight it. And also, do you want to talk about like the weird scene where where he's like almost dies?
That's kind of okay. Let's just say in the boss battle, they kind of do a thing where you're like, oh shit, somebody's gonna die. But then they don't at the end. But did you actually mind it? Because when I was reading, I was like, holy shit, are they actually gonna do that? And I actually kind of believed for a second that they would. And I kind of felt bad. Like, I felt like the scene works. Sometimes it's like a tease, like, oh, we're gonna kill someone, but they're still alive. But I feel like it works because I was actually kind of happy that the character wasn't dead.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure this would be, if this is something we should talk about, like how he gets, like, the arrow thing. Wither?
Oh, I don't fucking get that.
Wait, what? You
I don't understand that.
Okay.
Like, well, why? How did that work? Oh yeah, doesn't like Breeze have a magic arrow for no reason?
No. It's Runt. He finds a random black arrow. I think this is when he's by himself, and then like and near the end of the boss fight, because Breeze has run out of arrows because she's their archer basically, and Runt was like, "Hey, Breeze, have this arrow," and then Breeze gave him this, or it said he gave him this look like you're an idiot basically. And
yeah, but it's not explained.
Not really. It's basically just magic arrow.
Yeah, so like basically in the part where he's walking by himself for like 50 pages and nothing happening, he picks up this arrow, but Cube Kid didn't really make a big deal out of it, at least to me. Maybe you remember.
No.
I literally didn't remember where he got that arrow from. When he pulls it out in the last battle, I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I forgot he got
just
this arrow.
found a black arrow, and it was like, oh, that's a little interesting, and then
they pull it out in the boss battle, and it's like, wow! Victory. Victory's great. It's very weird. But I do like the end battle. And I actually am glad that the character that almost dies doesn't die. Because, I don't know, at first I thought they should just go ahead and kill them, but then I was like, I don't know.
And also, like, book 5, like, it could have been, like, I think it could have been, like, way cooler, or, like, the book way better, because since they're leaving, there could have been a whole, like, for example, like, there's one part where they talk about how you can, like, learn skills, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, that, I mean, I feel like they don't really talk about it all that much, but, like,
oh yeah, that part, it's like, Q-Kid introduces a lot of stuff that's not important. I know, like, the dual wielding and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of pretty important.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, you're right, not really. I mean,
think about the last battle, but Runt can only use one sword.
I mean, he did use one sword, he had a shield, remember?
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
Like, Toby's like, I might not remember stuff when we were starting this review. He's like, don't be mad if I can't remember stuff. And I'm like, he remembers way more than I do.
I mean, maybe the 5th book, but in the other books you totally remember more than me.
All right, so are the last of our thoughts? I do like when Pebble comes back though. I like Pebble.
Yeah.
I don't think Cube Kid had to do what he did, but it's his story with Pebble's character. Basically, later they try to justify his actions with some other stuff, but I thought what they had was already enough.
Yeah.
Plus, I think any kind of redemption arc is more powerful when they've actually done bad things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't really be redeemed if you never did anything.
And also, one thing that I think is a little weird is so like in like the middle-ish of 5, yeah, when they find like when they've gotten their Breezes there, they for whatever reason they didn't bring a lot of like their weapons, so they find like this place with like this donation bib and a pile of basically garbage items. That was weird. It was a little boring when they were searching through it.
Talk about boring random scenes like the shopping scene again. There's a scene where they randomly go into basically the Minecrafty equivalent of a church and then raid the donation pit, which might raise some moral questions if this book thought about anything for 2 seconds.
They basically like kind of pass it off as, oh, it doesn't matter, this is all trash anyway, and a lot of it was like, because like there was like there was lots of weapons and armor, but a lot of it had bad enchantments.
Right. But the point of the scene was that it's not that important, and it's kind of boring.
It's basically they just get a lot of soup.
Right.
So like when they win in the end, it's not like how.
Yeah, literally. So like the point is, Cube Kid didn't have to spend that much time on a scene that was rather boring. He could have just said we acquired some items. I mean, he should have explained how.
Or they should have, even better, I think, is then when Run left, he shouldn't have been like, all right, take my sword, my bread, and led my pony, and then right away it should have been, I'll give her my armor and my friends.
So if I rewrote the 5th book, I would have I would have them stay in Village Town. But if a Cube Kid really wanted to do this quest, why not take Runt entire team.
Or
have them go on a quest and continue to grow on a team and make the quest we have to slay a monster or something, not like shopping.
Yeah. Or like maybe not like, even if he didn't want to decide to bring the whole team because he still wanted to focus on the quest, maybe he could bring like someone who isn't as important, like Max, back, and they could like
yeah, imagine him on like an adventure.
For, like, 40 pages of them just traveling and bonding. That would have been pretty great.
Yeah, we totally would have missed that.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that pretty much all we have to say on that book?
Yeah, but one more thing before you click off this video.
Oh, yeah.
This video gets, we're setting the like goal. If this video gets to 10 likes, we'll make a couple minutes of a video, a couple minutes long of me dabbing.
Yeah, he really wants to do it, so please
like the video. Get all your accounts, like this video, subscribe, and watch all the other videos.
Yeah.
Be part of the notification squad.
Ew. Okay, alright, so final thoughts. We pretty much like this series. It's funny, the action is good, the characters are good for the most part. Basically, the only thing you have to know is that Cube Kid is very much an amateur. There's plot threads that don't go anywhere. There's characters that disappear off the face of the earth.
But unless you're like elitist or something, totally read it. It's super good.
I agree, honestly. I would still read them. Like I said, the only thing is the 5th book, I would probably skip the middle part.
Yeah,
but every other book
but everything else
is really good. And I really like the 4th one. Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed them all, except maybe the 5th one. But I enjoyed parts of the 5th one.
Yeah.
I just, not overall.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright guys, thanks for tuning into this review. We hope you check out the Minecraft books if you want. Well, not this one, but the other ones. And you can read that one if you want. I'm sure that it was just a bump in the road. Cube Kid clearly has talent as an author. Okay, alright guys.
Subscribe. Oh, you should do a shameless self-promotion where you talk about your series.
No, I'll do that at the video.
Okay.
Alright, see you guys. Bye-bye. Yeah.